Hello everyone, welcome to Style3D channel. In this video, I will show you how to optimize the knitted fabric. Let's get started. First, let's optimize the sweater model. The neckline is a bit loose. Set the neckline elasticity to 98. Press the spacebar to simulate, and then the color is done, so now let's adjust the hem. Refer to the real sweater hem and let's make a curve. Select the hemline, right-click, and add an equidistance internal line, space 0.2 and count 2. Fold the angle at 140 degrees and then press the spacebar to simulate. It's still not curved enough. Let's delete this line. And then let's add a new equidistance internal line, but let's change the spacing to 0.4 instead. And then the fold angle to 140 degrees. Then press the spacebar to simulate. Compare with the sweater photo. Okay, the cuffs, we do it in the same way. So here we're going to speed things up a little bit. Next, we're going to make the textures. Open a knit fabric image in Photoshop, and then crop the part of it to make a cycle fabric texture. Let's click the crop tool. Select the part, and then apply cropping. Ctrl+ to zoom in, then pull out guidelines from the ruler, and if there's no ruler in the window, press Ctrl+R to bring up the rulers. Pull out 4 guidelines, and then align the knit holes with the guideline. Ctrl+T to free transform, and right-click to show the warp. The control lines here can manipulate the image warp. You can also press Alt to create new control lines. Move the control points to align the knit holes with the guidelines. Let's speed things up a bit here. Check to apply transform, and then let's pull out horizontal guidelines and check if the horizontal holes are aligned. For unaligned areas, press Ctrl+T again, and then right-click to warp and adjust. View the clear guide, and now let's crop the image slightly smaller. Filter, Other, and then Offset. And then try to make the horizontal or vertical displacement into an integer to easily adjust it back later. Notice the seam area. The knit texture is a bit large. So let's crop some more. Check the offset again. And then now use the clone stamp tool to smooth the seam area. Let's speed up. Filter, Other, and then Offset. Change the plus to minus, so it displaces back. And now let's fix some details. Ctrl+J to duplicate a layer. Filter 3D. And then let's generate a normal map. Change the geometry to a cube. And the normal map can be inverted here. But inverted is not what we want. So turn off invert, adjust the normal parameters, okay. Save the texture map, name it, knit normal, and then note that the suffix should follow the conventions. And now let's save the color textures too. Make sure to use diffuse for this suffix. Now we're going to make a displacement map for the rib. Ctrl J to duplicate a layer. Then let's change the layer mode to black and white. We'll use the grayscale to represent the ribbing bumps. The ribbing grooves are darker. Let's merge the layers. And then Ctrl J to duplicate to enhance the light and dark contrast of the ribs. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And then click OK. And then filter, blur, and motion blur as well. And OK. And then let's adjust the layer style, levels, and boost the light and dark contrast. And then merge the two layers. Then let's change the first layer blend mode to hard light. Adjust the layer opacity to reduce details a bit. Then save the texture. Let's name this one Displacement. And then let's save the diffuse texture as well. Then duplicate the layer with Ctrl J and make a normal map as well for the rib. Change to a cube, adjust the parameters, click OK, and then save the normal map. Open the sweater project. Add the diffuse map, normal map, and displacement map. And here the texture is a bit big, so we're going to adjust the texture transformation. For a rib displacement texture, note that the particle distance should be less. Here it's set to 1. And let's adjust the rib texture transformation as well so it's less big. The contrast of the knitted texture is too hard here. So let's tweak the texture again in Photoshop, add a new layer, fill with white, and adjust white layer opacity. This quickly reduces contrast of the original. Let's save the texture again. And then replace the original color texture. The window pop-up, select yes. And if sources textures of inconsistent colors, you can change the color blending to recolor. So now the color is unified. Now let's make the seams. Open the knit seam material and then crop. And use the lasso tool. Make your selection for the knitted parts. Alt to subtract. And Ctrl J to copy the selection. Ctrl T to free transform. And adjust the material. And apply the transform. Now let's crop the image again. Ctrl T. Right click, warp, and let's speed up. Offset and then adjust the seam. Use the clone stem tool to make it tileable. And now let's export the texture. So export quickly as a PNG. We need to save two mirrored textures. So Ctrl J to duplicate the layer. Flip 180 degrees. And then save again. Name it Seam 2. And now let's convert it to black and white. Just use the Gaussian blur, levels for light and shade, just like we did earlier. And then save as a displacement map. Also save as a PNG. Don't forget to change the name with displacement. Duplicate the layer for Seam 1 too, and make the displacement just like we did. Open the sweater project again, and replace the top stitch texture map. Replace with top stitch texture map, L for free top stitch, and seam 1 has a wrong direction, so let's use the Seam 2 instead. And now it has the correct direction. We're going to add a normal map and the displacement map as well. And we're going to adjust the particle distance. Set it to 1. And adjust the top stitch values. Open the margin blend. Change the color. And name it Seam. Let's add a new top stitch. And make a cable pattern. Tileable cable texture, make the same way as the knit, and so let's use the free transform first. Right click to warp, adjust. Exactly the same as we did before. Let's crop again. Rotate to 90 degrees and offset. Let's fix the seams to make it tileable. And let's duplicate the layer to make the normal map. Duplicate again to make the displacement map. Let's use some Gaussian blur. Use the levels to make it darker. Make sure to merge with the other layer and then to save with the right name. And don't forget to save the color texture as well. Save your normal. Now let's add the cable texture. Adjust the particle distance, name it, cable, and K for segment top stitch. Let's adjust the top stitch size to something more reasonable. Check the margin blend. And let's recolor. Seam and cables have too strong of a contrast right now. So let's adjust them. Add a white layer, adjust the opacity, and then save again. Replace the pictures in the right spot and adjust the size again. And do the same thing for the seam. White layer, press Alt to clip. Save and replace your other image. And then change and re-import the top stitch texture, resize again. Same for the rib texture. Color harmony improved a lot now. Tweak the seam top stitch offset again. Go to Offline Render. Seam displacement offset to -0.05 and cable displacement offset to -0.2. Tweak the top stitch color based on the render. Okay. Next, I'll show you the sweater rendering. And the sweater has a fluffy surface, so you need to change the render to fur. Let's use default. Sync the render. And let's refer to real sweater and then tweak the parameters. So region save compute. And let's change the length to 2. The thickness to 0.07. Blend 0.3. And force to 0. Radius to 2. And number to 1. And now let's adjust the variance as well. Just keep tweaking until what you see in the render window looks good to you. And the length is too short, so let's set it to 3 instead. Pause the render. And change rib seam cable to knit parameters. Speeding up. Just make sure that everything checks out. And now let's render again. The final render, much better. So save it, and now our sweater is done. That's it, guys. Hope some of the tips will help your modeling work. If you like what we do, please like, comment, and share this video. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.